Good Tuesday afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Morgan Wolf. Just in this afternoon, Wisconsin's Governor Tony Evers is declaring a state of emergency. This is after a massive tornado tore through the Fox Valley region, leaving just a trail of destruction. This is new video showing homes and businesses destroyed there. A bird's eye view giving you also a scope of the cleanup efforts that's ahead. And just within the last few hours, we did hear from city leaders who are calling for a curfew as restoration begins.
This curfew is in place so that the emergency responders and the public works crews can complete their work safely, effectively, and without hindrance from people who would be in the area. There's a lot of dangers out there yet. Down trees intertwined with power lines, and the conditions are just not safe for citizens to be in the streets after dark.
Yeah, certainly sounds dangerous. Authorities say for the next several days, the curfew will be in place from 10 p.m. till 5 a.m. in Menasha and the east side of the village of Fox Crossing. City leaders are also calling for people to stay out of the area if they don't need to be there. Thousands of people in northeastern Wisconsin are still without power. The National Weather Service is now upgrading its preliminary tornado rating to an EF3 with winds topping 140 miles per hour. And severe weather didn't just hit Wisconsin. Illinois also saw heavy wind, hail, and flooding in the Chicago area. NBC's Maggie Vespa has more on the damage left behind in both states.
Hey there from Menasha, Wisconsin, a city that is largely, as you can see, destroyed. Most buildings here at least badly damaged. In this area, it's like home after home, just in pieces. That one in pieces, this one in pieces, that truck flipped upside down. We just talked to a man who said his wife was inside that truck, told him it flipped several times over the course of about 100 yards as that reported tornado just roared through this city yesterday. But he said, miraculously, she not only survived, but she only has bruises, not even any broken bones. And he called it a miracle. We're seeing people coming out here to kind of survey the damage, survey the scope of this storm and how big it was. Close to 5 reported tornadoes across multiple states, 200 storm reports in the area. We saw heavy wind, rain, hail in the Chicago suburbs. And then an update on a sort of crisis in progress that we were on the scene for last night in Downers Grove, Illinois, where authorities said 2 contractors were trapped in an underground storm drain as it was flooding with that sudden rush of rainwater. They told us overnight one of the contractors, thanks to emergency crews, was rescued. He's hospitalized in good condition. They say the other one is still missing, and they called conditions in that storm system, quote, extremely dangerous because of all of that sudden rainwater and sudden flooding in the area. So again, just devastation across multiple states in this latest round of severe summer weather. I'll send it back to you.
Back at home, water is flowing again in Bram after a cyber attack took out its water plant and put it offline. City officials say that they had to tap into its water tower supply for several hours. Leaders in South St. Paul, Maple Plain, and Plymouth say they were also targeted, with the attack impacting 2 of Plymouth's water towers and multiple lift stations. The city say that their water is safe, though, and operations were not affected. Our crews are taking a deeper look, though, into what happened, and we'll have more on that tonight on air and streaming on Kare 11. Well, in less than 48 hours, officials plan to reopen nearly 40% of the Boundary Waters canoe area for the day and night use, and that is the largest area since wildfires started burning 3 weeks ago. That news coming as Governor Tim Walz visited the area this week. He has extended his peacetime emergency, mobilizing the National Guard. More than 1,000 firefighters are also on the ground right now, helping put out the 64,000 acres burning. Walz also says that he may call a special session, actually, to focus solely on recovery, including an economic stimulus package.
The good news is that this is one issue that binds us. There is not a political, it's apolitical as you can possibly get. Protecting our neighbors, protecting our natural resources, protecting our economic growth, and this is one that we'll get right.
So far, the fires are about 53% contained, but we were about to enter peak fire season, so they worry that those conditions could worsen quickly. Closures could go back into effect, they also warn. This afternoon, rescue efforts are underway in Japan after a 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck south of the country, toppling bridges and causing multiple buildings to collapse. Authorities say that dozens have been injured and many remain trapped under rubble as concerns grow of possible deaths. NBC's Ralph Sanchez has more.
This 7.1 magnitude quake striking the Kumamoto region in southern Japan around 4:30 p.m. local time, according to Japanese officials. It initially triggered a tsunami warning. People were told to get away from the coast. That warning was lifted, but we are now starting to get a sense of the damage. Real chaos all across the region, including in a local Costco. You could see boxes falling off of high shelves onto customers in the aisles. Witnesses say some people were actually stuck underneath the debris. And we are tracking an explosion at a mall in the region. The second floor of that mall collapsing. Police say several people were trapped inside, and now multiple people are feared to have lost their lives. Bridges, roads buckling all across the area, train services suspended, including some of those high-speed bullet trains that Japan is known for, and the walls of a 16th century castle popular with tourists crumbling amid the tremors. Around 50,000 people, 50,000 homes have lost power. Authorities say the race is on now to restore electricity, but this unfortunately is a region with a lot of experience in this. 10 years ago, there was a massive quake that killed 275 people, and it injured thousands more. Ralph Sanchez, NBC News, London.
Right now, President Trump attending a funeral service for Senator Lindsey Graham, who suddenly died earlier this month at the age of 71. This just hours after two high-stake meetings involving two ongoing wars. First, President Trump sat down with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. That meeting coming as Russia intensifies its missile campaign in Kyiv, killing dozens. A few hours later, President Trump met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in their first face-to-face meeting in over 5 months. We're still waiting to hear what comes out of the talk, but the two leaders were expected to discuss the war in Iran and the framework agreement for peace in Lebanon. Both Zelensky and Netanyahu are joining Trump at that service for Graham. Right now, though, the Trump administration is pushing for major voting changes just months out from the midterms. The president is asking the Supreme Court to clear the way for his executive order restricting mail-in voting. It would require USPS to create new rules toughening requirements on mail-in ballots. And Trump says that it would limit widespread voter fraud. 23 states, including Minnesota, are suing, though, to block the order, arguing that states decide how elections are run, not the White House. Today, we are 2 weeks out from Minnesota's primary election, and you'll decide which candidates from each party will appear on the midterm general election ballot in November. Early voting is available now across Minnesota before in-person voting on Election Day. And if you haven't registered to vote yet, you can still do so online or in person at the polls. Big news from the Vikings today. In the past couple of hours, the team announced that they signed linebacker Jamal Adams. The three-time Pro Bowler spent the last season with the Las Vegas Raiders, and before that, Adams was a conference foe on the Detroit Lions. We remember him from there. The Purple and Gold also signed running back Jordan Mims, who was most recently with the San Francisco 49ers. There is a growing controversy in the North Metro this afternoon stemming from a new agreement for flock cameras in Anoka County. That contract is for a few $100s less than what is required to receive approval from the county board, which of course is sparking even more backlash. Police say that the license plate reading cameras are a helpful tool to solve crimes, but opponents argue that there are plenty of privacy concerns around who has access to the data. And that's what led some cities like Columbia Heights, which is in Anoka County, to remove them altogether. Ian Russell has more.
Across the Twin Cities, more than 1,000 of cameras like these dot streets and parking lots. And in Anoka County, the program is expanding and adding new technology along with it.
A proposed project that we've been working on at the county called the Safe County Initiative, through one of the ALPR vendors, automated license plate readers, Flock Safety.
Back in May, representatives from several law enforcement agencies held a town hall in Columbia Heights to talk about flock cameras and drones. The city ultimately decided to remove all their flock cameras back in June, but the county sheriff's office moved forward with a pilot program for flock drones this month, which will also bring additional license plate readers.
For me, it's about our constitutional rights.
Brenna Zymet lives in Columbia Heights and is concerned about the expansion of flock cameras. She says especially given how the contract was signed.
He signed a contract with Flock for $174,999 because at $175,000 he would have to get approval.
Sheriff Wise was unavailable for comment Monday, but a department spokesperson tells me the contract was for $174,500. Anoka County policy is that any contract above $175,000 needs county board approval. Still, a Facebook post shows frustration from a county commissioner who does not support how the decision was made, just like Zymet.
They created this, they signed the contract with absolutely no policy. We don't know how it's going to work.
According to the sheriff's spokesperson, automated license plate readers have been used in the county for years now, saying that all cities can opt out if they choose. As for those data privacy concerns, the department says that there are, quote, strict policies and protocols in place to ensure responsible use. Well, over in St. Paul tonight, the West Side Community Organization is asking for help renaming Cesar Chavez Street. The group is hosting their first input session to change the name at 6 o'clock tonight. The street was named after Chavez in 2004, but officials are wanting to change it after allegations came out that Chavez sexually abused women and girls. Right now, a federal judge has temporarily blocked the state from enforcing its ban on prediction markets like Kalshi and Poly Market. The new law was supposed to take effect Saturday, but the judge issued a preliminary injunction saying federal oversight likely preempts any state restrictions. Prediction markets allow people to bet on outcomes on a variety of events spanning not only sports but politics, pop culture, and even weather. Kalshi and Poly Market, along with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, have challenged the state's ban. Minnesota was the first state, though, to pass a law prohibiting them. Stick with us. We got more news and weather coming up.